So on this note, let me welcome Professor Utomi to give us the very few thoughts. When I saw him walking, please a round of applause for him as he comes up. When I saw him walking, I said, Prof, I hope no long thesis this morning. He said, no, it's going to be fun. So Prof, welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister for Communication and Digital Economy, very dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, following my promise to CFA, I am going to probably stay very light, but really lay down a little bit of soggy history, a biographical journey of sorts, in welcoming all of you to what is a very, very important conclave. This gathering of the tribe that will transform our country. I am truly, truly excited to be here with you. I thought I should start with a very amusing thing that happened in 1976. In 1976, I had managed to get myself truly into the writings of the future shock types. And I was so excited. And I was on vacation in the United States. It was the bicentennial of the United States. And two old friends of mine came to pick me up from the airport. One of them is named Pius Babalola Kole James. The other, I won't mention his name for just 1 or 2 minutes for effect. And so as we were driving into New Jersey, I kept talking about, this global village that would emerge. Having tough lines. The other fellow said to me, look, Pato, stop disturbing us. We're going straight to a nightclub from here. You are talking all this nonsense about that person is Tommy Davis. And you know why this is a very interesting story. Because of the role that Tommy played in building the hub here in Lagos. To think that in 1976, when I was getting very excited about this future that was coming, Tommy was asking me to stop disturbing them. But that is the nature of these things, and it's very exciting. So permit me, Honorable Minister, leaders in the regulatory and government facilitators space, to be able to say that the thrill to be here is in many ways very, very personal. Through a series of accidents, after those conversations with Tommy and co in the mid-1970s, I have come to really be convinced that if our country is going to fulfill its promise, it would have to count on technology and how that will disrupt and change the trajectory of things, and we will not have to be depending on oil for job creation, for fulfillment that people will have, diversification of the base of our economy. As I was beginning to say, I started writing about these things when I began to read these people. And then, happenstance, fortune brought a number of things my way. I've chosen to bring this T-shirt here. It's not been worn in 25 years. And I'm sure a few people here will remember anything about this T-shirt. Or it's eafricamarkets.com. Anybody remember anything like it? Well, a Nigerian who worked for Enron back in the early 90s and then moved to work for Apple in Silicon Valley came to see me sometime in 1994. It was the idea of an e-commerce venture, a B2C e-commerce venture that would have warehouses in Lagos, Johannesburg, Nairobi, and Dakar, and pool African products to sell to the diaspora and the world, literally. That young man was Aloy Chife. Dr. Aloy Chife and a number of people began this work, and I with them. And just as things were about to crest, the dot-com bubble burst, and that venture became history. But I want to kind of walk back just a few weeks or months before that. I had gone to a meeting in Banjul of the West African Enterprise Network. And at that meeting, people were handing me, from small African countries, their business cards with email addresses. And we couldn't do it from Nigeria. And I felt so ashamed because our telecom monopoly, Nitel, had not traveled down that track as it should. And I came back, I was teaching a class at the Lagos Business School, and I chewed up the executives in that class about how we should be ashamed of ourselves as business people, that we will be in this kind of position in Africa. And after that class, one of the people in the class walked up to me. His name is Chima Onyekwere. And Chima said to me, you know, we can do what you're saying. If you are ready to partner with me, we'll walk down that path. That was how a company called LinkServe was founded. And as most of us know, it became Nigeria's first ISP that got people out there. Now, these things that just seem to keep happening around me, I think went on a little further, and probably shows why I'm so passionate and I'm so excited and happy to see the teams that are emerging in the government side, on the government side, understanding what these things mean to all of us. Well, to just cut the chase to another incredible personal experience in this regard. By 1997, 1998, I began to push people in a small, if you want to call it, ethnic-based group that I was part of, called Oganihu and Yoma. I suggested that we needed 3 universities in Delta North. One, STEM-based pure science university. Another one, an applied sciences university. Another one, a tech park with a business school around it. I marked 3 different locations for these institutions. One, Terry Otuya, somewhere in his backyard, Irukwani area. Another one in Idumwesa, around Agbo. And a third one around the LA that was to be a tech park, a so-called Silicon Valley initiative. And we managed to get Aloy Chife to come back to drive what was then called Leapfrog Ventures, to try and actualize this process. And why this story bears telling is that the government of the state, for internal political reasons, deliberately chose to frustrate that effort, deliberately. A former governor of the state has publicly apologized to me about this, but it opens for conversation the reason why the public and private sector should seamlessly engage in opening up this very important space that can help our country truly grow. So, I'm excited to be here. I have met and interacted with some of you, but like CFA said, the value that is sitting in this room can change the course of the continent of Africa. And I am hopeful that in very honest, very frank, very open conversation, we will take advantage of the fact that at no point in human history has there been more capital available than there is today. The French economist Thomas Piketty is often writing about this. I mean, he is being called the new Marx. He wants to find ways to redistribute it. And my view is, it's not a matter of trying to find ways to distribute it. It's finding talent like you who have something to offer that can bring that capital and change how the flow eventually happens through your talent to the things that you do. And I am extremely delighted that we have with us a team from the government side that has embraced this way to travel. I keep preaching to my friends in the public services to look at a couple of models. The MITI model in Japan. Japan Incorporated was essentially created and driven by an agency of the Japanese government that used to be called the Ministry of International Trade and Industry. And the ultimate MITI experience, I had the great pleasure and privilege back in the 90s of spending some time at MITI, is that you can't tell where the public sector stops and the private sector begins. MITI would look out for opportunity for Japanese businesses around the world, help shape it, even help prepare feasibility, find the right Japanese companies, handhold them, and make these things happen. I think that that is possible in our country, and that the talent in our country is such that when we create this kind of culture, we can blow out the world. And I'm looking forward to all of you making this happen. So thank you all so much for being here, and thank those who have worked so hard to make this possible. I wish us very, very good deliberations, and Nigeria a great tomorrow because of today. Thank you all.